In a universe where the use of computers and artificial intelligence is strictly banned, who is left to handle calculations and strategies? This task now falls to human intelligence. Humans were specially trained to replace machines, and thus the Mentats were born. In this video, we will explore the human computers of the Dune universe, their origins, their abilities, and the most important characters in the series. Mentats are defined in the Dune universe as human computers. They are individuals who, through extreme training, have developed their memory, logical reasoning, modeling, and rapid calculation abilities. In societies where AI and computers are forbidden, they fulfill the critical roles of computation and analysis. Mentats possess an extraordinary recording memory and can perform multi-layered logical reasoning. They run strategic simulations and solve complex problems through algorithmic thinking. However, their emotional and moral approaches vary from person to person. While some focus entirely on cold-blooded calculations, others retain their human values. The Butlerian Jihad was a great war fought between humans and machines. Following this war, the production and use of thinking machines made in the likeness of a human mind, were completely banned. Since artificial intelligence and advanced computers could no longer be used for societal and economic tasks, it became mandatory to develop human intelligence to meet the needs for calculation and analysis. This necessity led to the emergence of Mentats. They filled this void as experts capable of performing complex calculations and possessing strategic and analytical capacity. Over time, Mentat training became systematic, and official academies and schools were established. Great houses and centers of power began cultivating Mentats to protect their own strategic and political interests. For example, the Landsraad members, the Imperium, and great families like the Harkonnens and Atreides trained their own Mentats or hired them directly, using them as advisors and strategy experts. This structure allowed Mentats to assume significant roles in society at both individual and institutional levels. Mentat training encompasses intense logic exercises, memory development, scenario simulations, and advanced calculation methods. In addition to this, students learn to control their emotional and moral filters. This allows them to make decisions based entirely on logic and analysis. Some sources indicate that Mentats do not settle for mental training alone. They also enter specific mental states, similar to a trance or extreme concentration, often aided by Sapho Juice, to minimize emotional deviations and biases. In Frank Herbert's original Dune novels, there are clues regarding the origin of Mentats. However, this topic is detailed more broadly in the sequel books and supplementary materials. Specifically, in works like Legends of Dune and Chapter House. Dune, Gilbertus Albans stands out as the founder of the Mentat school. Albans is defined as the person who designed and institutionalized the Mentat training system. It is important to note that information in the Dune universe can vary depending on the source. There are distinct emphases between Frank Herbert's original 6 novels and the works of Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson. Additionally, online encyclopedias and fan resources offer extra details. Therefore, the narrative regarding Mentats should always be evaluated within the context of the source material. In the Dune universe, Mentats are not merely humans who perform strategic calculations. They play critical roles in the decision-making mechanisms where political and military power is shaped. Now let's closely examine the most important Mentat characters in the series and their unique traits. Thufir Hawat is the loyal Mentat of House Atreides. He stands out for his deep loyalty, strategic genius, and high-level intelligence capabilities. He plays a central role in the series by managing the security and military plans of the Atreides. Thufir's example demonstrates how Mentats are used not just as calculating individuals, but as political instruments. Peter de Vries is the twisted, meaning morally corrupted, Mentat of House Harkonnen. With his amoral and calculating personality, he is known as one of the chief architects of Harkonnen's schemes. Peter's character allows us to question the ethical dimension of Mentat ability. He reveals how dangerous intelligence and calculation power can be when in evil hands. Paul Atreides possesses psychological and prescient abilities as the potential Kwisatz Haderach. However, he also received Mentat training from childhood. This training strengthens his analytical intelligence and strategic thinking capacity. Paul shows how Mentat education intertwines with Bene Gesserit disciplines and how his intelligence is shaped in a multi-layered way. Miles Teg is a powerful Mentat who stands out specifically for his military tactics and leadership abilities. He is connected to the Bene Gesserit and appears as a critical character in Frank Herbert's later novels. Teg is a striking example of how Mentat abilities can be applied in war and strategy. Certain Gholas of Duncan, Idaho, display Mentat characteristics. Specifically, through the recovery of memories in his recreated bodies, he can reveal calculation and strategic abilities like a Mentat. This situation highlights the interaction between Ghola technology, Mentat training, and memory. Duncan's example shows how Mentat abilities can be diversified through biological and mental applications. In the Dune universe, Mentats are not just an extraordinary extension of human intelligence. They are critical figures shaping society, politics, and warfare. In a world where computers and AI are banned, the human mind assumes the burden of calculation, strategy, and analysis. The deep loyalty of Thufir Hawat, the immoral calculations of Peter de Vries, the secret Mentat training of Paul Atreides, the strategic genius of Miles Teg, and the abilities emerging in the Ghola bodies of Duncan, Idaho, demonstrate how diverse and effective the roles of Mentats can be. Mentats are not just individuals who calculate probabilities and numbers. They also represent the balance between power, loyalty, and ethics. They are a symbol of carrying the potential of human intelligence to the highest level through discipline, training, and determination. In a universe where technology is limited, Mentats display human creativity, strategic expertise, and analytical abilities in the most effective way. Ultimately, Mentats remind us of an important question. What can human intelligence achieve when trained to handle the most complex and critical tasks, combined with ethics and responsibility? In the Dune universe, the answer to this question emerges differently with every Mentat character, provoking the viewer to think about the limits of the human mind. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share who you think is the most impressive Mentat in the comments below. See you in our next exploration of the deep world of Dune.